You ever just sit there, this weird pressure in your chest, like you're late to a life you were supposed to have figured out by now? Everyone around you is making moves, buying homes, launching side hustles, becoming gluten-free spiritual entrepreneurs, and you're like, why do I still feel like I'm buffering? Like, I've got dreams, big ones, loud ones, but they keep getting buried under to-do lists, mental noise, and 15-second videos of people folding sweaters like it's an Olympic sport. And you start to think, maybe I'm just lazy. Maybe I'm not cut out for this grown-up, purpose-driven boss life stuff. But nah, that's not it. You're not lazy, you're just distracted. You're not stuck because you lack ambition. You're stuck because your brain's been turned into a piñata and the world keeps swinging at it with notifications, guilt, FOMO, and a side of anxiety. Like, how are you supposed to focus on your goals when every app on your phone is designed to hijack your attention harder than a toddler in a toy store? You sit down to work on something real, write, build, create, whatever. And within 5 minutes, you're researching how long sea turtles live or reading a comment war between two strangers about oat milk. You're not weak, you're fragmented, mentally stretched thin, emotionally fried, spiritually trying to remember where you put your motivation. And the worst part? You blame yourself. Like you're the problem, like you're just not disciplined enough. But what if you're not failing? What if you're just drowning in distractions no one warned you about? You've been living in a casino where every bell, buzz, and badge wants a piece of your focus, and you're supposed to write a novel in the middle of that? Please, this isn't about work ethic. This is about survival. Your nervous system's been fried by years of multitasking, context switching, comparison, and caffeine. Of course you feel scattered. Of course you feel behind. You've never been allowed to go deep on anything. Everything's surface. Tap, swipe, scroll, switch. You've got 20 tabs open in your browser and 200 in your brain. No wonder you feel stuck. But don't confuse stuck with broken. Don't confuse burnout with laziness. Don't confuse constant interruption with a lack of direction. Because deep down, you do know where you want to go. You've just forgotten what it feels like to move in silence, to focus, like your life depends on it, to sit with one thing long enough for it to become something real. That's not your fault. That's modern life doing what it was designed to do. Keep you distracted, overstimulated, exhausted, and endlessly busy without ever feeling like you're getting anywhere. But the truth is, your energy's not gone. It's just leaking. Leaking into every random reel, every pointless debate, every shallow scroll session that leaves you feeling more tired than inspired. You are not lazy. You're overloaded. Your brain's been holding 10 conversations at once, juggling your dreams while trying to look calm on the outside. But that doesn't mean you're behind. It means you need to stop. Not forever. Just long enough to reset, to breathe, to reclaim your attention from the chaos. Because when your focus returns, so will your fire. So will your clarity. So will your pace. Not their pace, yours. You don't need to do more, and you need to do less, but deeper, slower, smarter. And yeah, it starts with realizing that you're not the problem. You're the answer that's been drowned out by noise. And it's time to listen again. Not to the pings, not to the pressure, not to the panic. To you. That's where we begin. You wake up and before your feet even hit the floor, you're already in a game of mental ping pong. Phone lights up. 5 texts, 2 emails. A notification from an app you forgot existed, reminding you to drink water like you've been stranded in the Sahara. And before your brain can even boot up properly, you've already seen 6 people accomplishing things you didn't even know you were supposed to want. Someone's running a marathon. Someone's building a cabin. Someone's got a new girlfriend, a six-pack, and a brand deal with a toothpaste company. And you? You're trying to remember if you fed your cat or just thought about it really hard. This is what we call a normal morning now. And it's ridiculous. We don't live in a world of focus anymore. We live in a circus. Every tab, every screen, every scroll is someone yelling, "Hey, over here!" And our brain, poor thing, just spins. You know what it feels like? Like you're in a group chat with 400 people and they're all talking at once, and none of it's useful. Someone's selling something, someone's bragging, someone's panicking, someone's fighting about pineapple on pizza, and all of them want a slice of your attention. We weren't built for this. Human beings were not designed to process this much nonsense before our first cup of coffee. Our ancestors used to wake up, stretch, maybe fight a bear, maybe farm a potato, and that was it. Now we wake up and get 73 opinions about our breakfast. No wonder your brain feels like a browser with 29 tabs open and one of them is playing music, but you can't figure out which one. We laugh about it, but deep down, it's messing with us. This constant ping-ponging between tasks, between tabs, between thoughts. It's frying our focus, yes, but it's also eroding something bigger: our peace, our presence, our ability to sit with something long enough to understand it, like really understand it. A thought, a goal, even ourselves. Because we can't hear our own inner voice when we're being shouted at by a million digital ones. And here's the part that really stings. We've gotten used to it. We've accepted chaos as the default. Silence feels awkward now. Stillness feels wrong. We open apps not because we want to, but because our thumbs are on autopilot. Our attention's being dragged around like a chew toy. And the worst part is, we call it productivity. We convince ourselves we're being busy, but all we're doing is bouncing. Click here, switch there, try this, watch that. And at the end of the day, we're exhausted. But we didn't move an inch closer to what actually matters to us. You ever feel that? Like you did so much and somehow nothing at all? That's ping pong life. That's the dopamine loop. And it's not making us sharper, it's making us scattered. It's not giving us momentum, it's just keeping us dizzy. And I get it. Distraction is easier, it's faster. It feels safer than confronting the big stuff. The real dreams, the hard conversations, the parts of ourselves we're not proud of. But distraction is a liar. It promises relief, but gives you regret. It steals your hours and sells them back to you as highlight reels from other people's lives. And if you don't take control of your attention, someone else will. Some algorithm, some brand. Some influencer convincing you to buy socks made from recycled moon dust. The modern world doesn't care about your peace. But you should. Because peace is the foundation of power. You can't create from chaos. You can't grow in noise. And you definitely can't focus while mentally sprinting through 400 thoughts per hour, like your brain's in a game show you didn't sign up for. The worst part? We've forgotten what real focus feels like. That deep, calm, tunnel vision flow state where you're locked in, present, powerful, creating something that actually matters to you. That's not gone. It's just buried, under noise, under pressure, under ping pong. So if you're sick of feeling busy, but not better, if you're tired of spinning in circles and calling it progress, then you've got to start subtracting. Not adding, not optimizing, subtracting. Less noise, fewer inputs, more intention. Because every single distraction you ignore is a little rebellion, a little revolution, a little act of taking your life back. And when you multiply those little rebellions, that's when momentum starts. Not the fake kind, the real kind, the kind that actually leads somewhere. And that's where we're headed next. You remember what it felt like to be a kid and get lost in something? I'm not talking about, oh, I kind of liked coloring. I mean lost. Like 6 hours went by and the only thing you noticed was that the sun moved and your neck now has the flexibility of an old tree branch. You were in it. Whether it was building Legos, drawing dragons, digging holes for absolutely no reason at all, whatever it was, you didn't need coffee or a to-do list or a productivity guru whispering in your ear. You were just there, present, obsessed. in love with the process. Your whole world was one thing, one mission, and it was glorious. Now, now you try to focus on one task, and your brain throws a full-blown riot. You sit down to write an email, and suddenly you remember you need to order groceries, check your calendar, message your cousin back, research if blueberries are good for brain fog, and also maybe become a better person. It's not even multitasking, it's multi-surviving. You're trying to live, work, think, and evolve all in the same 5-minute window. And your brain is waving a white flag like, I was not built for this. Please send snacks. And the wildest part is, somewhere inside you, that focused kid still exists. That version of you who could lock into something for hours. Who wasn't checking for likes or wondering if they were falling behind. They were just building that Lego spaceship, like the fate of the galaxy depended on it. So what happened? Life didn't just get louder, it got fragmented. You didn't lose your focus. You just stopped being allowed to protect it. Everything now is urgent. Everything is important. Everything is asking for your eyeballs. But your soul? It's asking for depth, and no one's handing it to you. That's the scary part. No one is going to give you back your focus. You have to take it back, and I know. Adult life is real. You've got bills, deadlines, messages from your boss that feel like they were typed with a scowl. You've got people expecting things, plans to make, maybe a family, maybe a side hustle, maybe just chronic exhaustion wrapped in a hoodie. But you still need space, not just to rest, but to return. Return to that version of you that could go deep, who didn't feel guilty for focusing, who didn't need permission to chase wonder. That's not just some nostalgic fluff, that's survival. Because if you never learn to get back into that deep focus, real, meaningful, uninterrupted focus, then all your best ideas, your deepest work, your most alive self, they'll stay locked behind noise. It's like having a brilliant mind with no quiet room to sit in. It's like having a race car engine but driving in bumper-to-bumper traffic every day. You start to forget what you're capable of. You start to believe you're just slow, just tired, just behind. But what if you're not? What if you've just never had space long enough to see your own brilliance? What if you're not broken, just interrupted too many times for too long? That Lego kid didn't need motivation. They didn't need a morning routine or a podcast telling them to crush the day. They needed time, room, silence, and permission to get lost. So what if that's the new goal? Not just doing more, but going deeper. Not just finishing tasks, but getting absorbed in them again. Not because you have to, but because that's where life actually lives. That's where progress stops being performative and starts being personal. That's where fulfillment hides. Underneath the noise, waiting for you to remember what it felt like to be completely, wildly, joyfully immersed in something real. And you can get back there. You don't need to fix yourself. You just need to clear the way back to who you were before the world started yelling over your focus. Imagine this. You're in a boat, a small one, no engine, just a pair of oars, calm water, and a clear destination in the distance. Something that matters to you, a dream, a vision. Maybe it's a business. Maybe it's peace. Maybe it's just figuring out who the heck you are when no one's watching. You set off with the best of intentions. You start rowing. Then someone yells, "Hey, look over here." So you turn. Not a full stop, just a little glance, a pause, but now you've veered off course. Then another voice shouts, "Wait, try this path instead." So you turn again and again and again. Every distraction feels tiny, harmless, just a moment, just a shift, just a scroll. But one by one, they pile up, and before you know it, you're spinning in circles, not moving forward, not moving backward, just dizzy, tired, confused. And the worst part? You look up at that goal in the distance, the one that used to feel so clear, and now it looks far, blurry, almost imaginary. You start thinking maybe you're just stuck. Maybe you're not cut out for it. But you're not stuck. You're just spinning. Distracted so many times, You've mistaken chaos for failure. You haven't been going nowhere. You've just been pulled everywhere. You've been turning every time someone shouted. You've been reacting instead of steering. And that's why you're tired. That's why you feel like you're trying so hard, but not getting anywhere. Because rowing in circles takes energy too. Mental energy, emotional energy. And you've been burning it, chasing every ping, every worry, every what if that shows up dressed like urgency. But here's the truth. The boat still works. The oars are still in your hands. The destination is still there. You don't need a new life plan. You don't need to reinvent yourself or read another 17 articles about productivity. You just need to stop spinning. Pick a direction, hold it. That's it. That's the shift. Not more movement, more intention. Less turning, more choosing. Less reacting, more staying the course. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be consistent, one quiet stroke at a time. That's how you cross oceans. That's how you get unstuck. And that's how you remember, maybe for the first time in a long time, you're not broken. You're just dizzy and still holding the map. A while back, I was scrolling YouTube when I stumbled on this video of a guy shaping a bonsai tree. I wasn't looking for it. I don't even know how it showed up in my feed, but I clicked. And what I saw hit harder than most motivational speeches ever have. Here's this quiet dude, sitting outside, no fancy camera angles, no hype, just hands and wire and branches. And for 12 straight minutes, he gently, carefully, methodically shapes this tiny tree. Clip here, bend there, wrap this, reposition that. No rush, no drama, just presence. And then he says something that froze me. He says, I've been training this tree for 3 years. 3 years for something that's maybe a foot tall. And he's not done yet. He's still tweaking, still adjusting, still watching it grow. That's when it hit me. This is what real progress looks like. Not flashy, not viral, not loud, just deliberate, steady, rooted. We talk about growth like it's this big, fast thing. Like transformation is supposed to feel like a firework. But the truth? It usually feels like repetition. Like subtle changes no one sees. Like showing up over and over, even when nothing seems to be moving. That guy wasn't working fast. He was working deep. And depth. Depth takes time. Our world doesn't reward that. It rewards speed, volume, attention. It says, if it's not obvious, it's not happening. If it's not shareable, it's not real. But real growth, real mastery, it's boring on the outside. It's you at your desk, doing the work that no one claps for. It's you resisting the temptation to chase 100 new things so you can stay faithful to one thing that matters. It's wire and patience and trust. That bonsai wasn't being rushed. It wasn't being compared. It was being cultivated with time, with stillness, with care. And I thought, what if that's how I've got to treat myself? What if I stopped trying to grow like a wildfire and started growing like a tree? Not for show, but for strength. Rooted, slow, intentional. So I made a decision. I deleted half the apps on my phone, turned off notifications that used to drag me back into the spin. And I chose one thing, just one. Not 5, not 20. 1. I gave it real attention. I protected it like it was something sacred. And yeah, it was uncomfortable. It was quiet. There weren't any fireworks. But things started to change. Not overnight, but undeniably. And for the first time in years, I wasn't chasing. I was cultivating. Just like that tree, I wasn't moving faster, I was moving deeper. And that felt right. So here's what I want you to hear. Your life doesn't need to look loud to be working. Your progress doesn't have to go viral to be valid. If you're showing up day by day, protecting your peace, nurturing your focus, staying rooted in your purpose, then you're already growing. You're already becoming. And no, it might not look impressive right now, but give it time. Because quiet progress is still progress, and when it blooms, it hits different. Not because the world notices, but because you do. You feel it. You know it. And that's what counts. All right, you've seen the spinning. You've felt the chaos. You know what it's like to be pulled in 100 directions until you don't even know what you care about anymore. Now we change that. One move, one mindset. Choose one thing. One. Not 5 goals. Not 12 tabs. One thing that matters. One direction your soul's been quietly whispering about while the rest of your life's been screaming. And then guard it like it's gold. Because it is. Let me tell you something most people never hear. Clarity isn't something you find. It's something you protect. You don't get clarity by thinking harder. You get it by clearing space. You can't hear yourself think if you're drowning in noise. So this is where it gets uncomfortable. You have to start subtracting. Not because you're weak, but because your strength deserves focus. And that means saying no. No to the apps that bait you. No to the inbox that owns you. No to the projects that aren't aligned, even if they look productive. No to the people who keep pulling you into versions of yourself you've already outgrown. Choosing one thing doesn't mean giving up on your potential. It means finally giving your potential a fighting chance. Because when you divide yourself across 10 priorities, none of them get your best. You get burnt out. You get scattered. You get stuck in that loop of almost starting, almost trying, almost finishing. But when you choose one thing and guard it, like really protect it from everything that wants to steal your attention, that's when you build momentum. That's when you stop spinning and start digging. And yeah, it's going to feel weird. Because we've been trained to think multitasking is strength, that always being available is responsible, that jumping between goals is ambitious. But it's not. It's diluted effort. It's burning energy on switching costs. It's never going deep enough to break ground. You don't get breakthroughs by bouncing. You get them by showing up to the same thing again and again until it breaks you open. And the only way you do that is if you make it sacred. So, what's your one thing? Seriously. What's that one goal, that one habit, that one piece of your purpose that you keep pushing to the side because everything else feels louder? That thing deserves your focus. It doesn't need perfect conditions. It doesn't need approval. It needs space, attention, and time. And you might be thinking, but what if I pick the wrong thing? You won't, because progress always teaches. Choosing something and doing it will give you more clarity than overthinking ever will. You'll either go deeper or course correct, but either way, you'll move forward. And right now, that's everything. So shut the tabs. Mute the noise. Make room. Choose your one thing, not forever, but for now, for this season. And when the world tries to pull you away from it, when distraction knocks with something shiny, you guard your focus like your life depends on it. Because maybe it does. Because if you never choose, you'll stay spinning. And if you never protect what matters, you'll lose it to what doesn't. So choose one thing and fight for it. Gently, fiercely, daily. That's how the tide turns. You've been thinking you're behind, that you missed the wave, that everyone else is building empires while you're just trying to answer texts and not burn your toast, that you should be further, faster, more together, more impressive. But what if that's all just noise? What if behind is a lie you've been told by a world that worships speed, ignores depth, and treats patience like a flaw? What if you're not behind at all? You're just on your way, quietly, imperfectly, but undeniably. Because progress doesn't always look like fireworks. Sometimes it looks like not quitting today. Sometimes it looks like choosing peace instead of panic. Sometimes it's deleting an app, writing one sentence, drinking water instead of spiraling. Tiny, defiant acts of self-respect. You think those don't count? That they don't matter because no one clapped for them? Listen to me. Those small acts, that's the climb. That's the comeback. That's how you reclaim your pace in a world obsessed with speed. And yeah, it's slower. And it's harder. Because no one's posting it. No one's giving you gold stars for showing up to a life only you can build. But that's what makes it real. You're not falling behind. You're learning how to walk without tripping over pressure. You're unlearning noise. You're relearning what it feels like to trust your own rhythm. Because maybe your life isn't late. Maybe it's just different. Maybe it was never supposed to look like theirs. Maybe you're not here to be impressive. Maybe you're here to be whole, to be present, to be deeply, wildly, unapologetically yourself, in a world trying to turn everyone into highlight reels and productivity machines. And if that means moving slower, choosing differently, growing in silence while others shout, so be it. There's no timer on transformation, no deadline on becoming. You don't need to sprint to prove your worth. You don't need to catch up to people who were never running your race. You're not behind. You're rebuilding. You're remembering. You're returning to yourself after years of being pulled away. And yeah, it's messy and quiet and not always clear, but it's yours, and you're not lost. You're not late. You're not broken. You're on your way, and every step counts. You want your life back? Then take your focus back, because everything flows from that. Your energy, your clarity, your peace, your momentum, your sense of self. It's all rooted in your ability to choose what matters and stay with it long enough, deep enough, fiercely enough to build something real. Not perfect, not flashy, real. That's the mission now. Not to do more, not to chase louder, but to reclaim your attention like it's the steering wheel of your life. Because it is. And I get it. That sounds simple, but it's war. Because distraction isn't just habit, it's culture. It's baked into everything. We've been trained to be passive, reactive, addicted to urgency, addicted to comparison, addicted to feeling busy just to avoid feeling behind. But what if you stopped feeding that cycle? What if you pulled the plug? What if, starting today, you stopped giving away your focus like it's some cheap free sample? You guard it. You defend it. You build a wall around it and say, no, this belongs to me now. Because that's the beginning of real power. Not noise, not clout, not hustle. Power, quiet, grounded, unshakable. The kind that builds brick by brick while everyone else is still chasing lightning. Reclaiming your focus is how you stop surviving and start creating. It's how you stop performing and start becoming. It's how you stop watching your life like a show and start actually living it with your whole heart, with full presence. And if that means slowing down, good. Slow down. Breathe. Strip away the junk you've been carrying just to impress people who aren't even watching. Burn the timeline. Drop the pressure. Get still. And ask yourself, what matters? What do I want to give my hours to? What would my life look like if I gave my best energy to one thing instead of splitting it across 1,000 nothings? That answer? That's your direction. That's your boat. That's your focus. And it's sacred. Don't hand it off to every buzz and every trend. Guard it like it's the only fire keeping you warm. Because in a way it is. And no, it won't be easy. You'll fall off. You'll get distracted. You'll feel tempted to go back to the spin. That's fine. That's human. But the difference now, you know what's happening. You see it. You've named it. And that means you can fight it. 1 hour at a time. 1 day at a time. 1 deep breath. 1 quiet decision. 1 no to chaos. And 1 yes to alignment. That's the revolution. Not in the noise, but in the stillness. Not in the hype, but in the focus. So no, you're not behind. You never were. You were just buried. But now you're coming back. Not rushing, not proving, just returning to the one thing that always belonged to you, your attention. And when you reclaim that, you reclaim everything.